information in a video format like this. The other big question I received is, okay, during the interview process or prior to the interview process, what do I do for preparation? And then what are some of the key questions that come up in an interview, and how can I address those in order to get a job with one of these great Web 2.0 companies? Because some people see Web 2.0 opportunity is a chance of getting in at the ground floor, and if they can do that, and if they can identify Web 2.0 companies, get a job with one of those organizations, then of course they can be in a position to perhaps make a profound impact in terms of how that company grows and develops, and of course ultimately, particularly if it goes public or is purchased, such as YouTube by Google or something, is acquired, then you've got an opportunity to gain a lot of money based upon your stock options or stock and things of that sort, as well as the fact that there may be big raises and bonuses for people as part of that organization when it's sold or when it goes public. So just as a result of that, people have asked, what do I do to get these types of jobs? How do I research them, and how do I actually address the interview process? First of all, I go to Google. Obviously, I go to Yahoo. I go to all those different search engines. I go to Yahoo Finance, Google Finance. What I want to do is I want to understand the background of those companies, not just from a superficial perspective by looking at their website. Go to their websites, understand some of those top Web 2.0 companies and things that are out there that you think are at the cutting edge. For example, Tableau, I thought was one to keep an eye on, and they were recently purchased by Hewlett Packard. Obviously, YouTube and others, MySpace have been purchased by big other companies. Look for what are the other YouTubes, MySpaces, Googles that are out there in the marketplace. I believe Lulu is going to be in a great position. Obviously, Flickr did quite well and was acquired. So there are a lot of other companies I talk about on the Skill of Success site. You'll find some information as well as in the book. So if you want to take a look at it, I've got kind of a simple little breakdown on page 111 here. And what it essentially does is it looks at all the Web 1.0 versus Web 2.0 companies in different industries, such as the travel industry, the automobile industry, stock trading, publishing, books, the book publishing industry, software, consumer electronics, education, photos. So they range from eTutor, StudyLoft, PageFlakes, Salesforce, Zoho, NetVibes, NetSuite, MyStory or Our Story, Blurb, Evoca, InstantPublisher.com, MyDesignIn.com, Splice, Your Spins, Pandora, Ripe, YouTube, MySpace, Gorgeous Killa, pardon me, CollabNet, Innocenta.com. So if you want to get some of the information, you can download. I'm going to be providing a free download of the book for a limited time, or if you want to get the hard copy, then help yourself to that. But you can also just do Web 2.0, list of Web 2.0 companies on Google, and you can find a lot of great information that way. After you've identified those companies, then go in and look at Google Finance, look at Yahoo Finance, look at Hooters.com, and get some background information on those companies, because you want to go into the interview armed with great information about the organization. To be able to say something like, I noticed recently you've acquired company 4, 5, and 6, and A, B, or A, B, and C, and that seems to indicate that you're looking at moving in this particular direction, and here are the skills that I bring that could benefit you as you look to acquire these types of companies and move into this particular market. And you show how your skills, your background, your experiences fit into their acquisition strategy. Or you talk about just the fact that you're very impressed with the organization. They've been able to generate 30 to 40% profit margins on revenues that have doubled over the last 3 quarters, right? Things like that indicate that you've done your homework, you've done your research. Also go to Google after you found the CEO or the CIO or other key executives on a website that they're the founders or so forth. Get that information, do a Google search on speech plus that person's name. So maybe it's John Doe's speech, right? Conference, words like that into Google. You'll quickly identify those individuals, and you'll be able to find video clips out there, MP3 clips, whatever that's out there, audio clips, where they've spoken about certain things in major conferences and conventions, and you can really get some great insight in terms of what those executives are thinking, and you can weave that into your conversation during the interview process. Obviously, that shows that you've really done your homework. Additionally, by looking at a lot of that information on the Yahoo Finance and Google Finance and so forth, you can look and compare different companies and identify the ones that perhaps on the surface seem that they're doing pretty well, but in when you look at the financials, when you look at more information, you may find that they're not doing so well after all. Okay. Privately owned companies, it's harder to get the information, but be creative, look around, check with other people, and there are a lot of ways that you can get your hands on some of that information, or at least get a gut feel for some of that information. Okay, so those are some things that, again, in response to the question, one, what do I do with my resume? How do I put this together, and so forth? And then two, what kind of background research should I do prior to going into the interview? Another question that comes up is the cover letter. How do I do a cover letter? Okay. I have never done more than a one-page cover letter, and it's almost